Welcome back to Peer-Guided DBT Lessons, provided by DBT Skills Application, Peers Helping Peers. This lesson is the conclusion of our DBT Diary Cards, Part 2. If you've not yet watched our video on DBT Diary Cards, Part 1, please begin there. You will find the link to Part 1 in the video description below. Please keep in mind that we're simply peers helping peers, working together to bring about more peaceful, constructive, and ultimately happier lives. In other words, a life worth living. Let's start Part 2 by doing a quick review of the four main purposes of keeping DBT diary cards. First of all, they help us to keep accurate memory records. They help us in discovering interwoven links. They help us with daily reminders. And they help us with charting change. Our video for DBT Diary Cards Part 1 focused on pages 1 and 3 of our diary cards. These portions of the cards can be filled out by all, no matter how far a person has advanced in DBT. They can be filled out even in the very beginning. The link to our DBT Diary Cards video Part 1 is located in the video description below. Page 2 of our diary cards will be filled out according to which module you are being taught, and those you have already completed. Dialectical Behavior Therapy, or DBT, diary cards are in a table or grid-like format which assists in tracking when a target symptom occurs, along with the skill used to cope with it. They provide a record of both the frequency of and the intensity of behaviors that are problematic. Now let's look at how to fill out our diary card, page 2. You should already have filled in dates on page 2 as you worked through the video for Part 1, along with circling which day of the week you began your week's record. DBT is typically taught in rounds. New members are added at the beginning of each module. Any of the four modules may be your first module. Let's take a look at an example of how this works. If someone joins DBT at the start of the Mindfulness module, at the end of that module, they would progress to the next module. Those who began with distress tolerance will have made a full round, ending with mindfulness. They are likely to be leaving the group at this time. This will leave space to add new members. At the end of distress tolerance, those who joined at the beginning of mindfulness, along with those who joined in distress tolerance, will proceed to the emotion regulation module. They will be joined by new members just beginning DBT. Each will continue the round until they have completed all four modules. Let's take a look at the advantages and disadvantages of working DBT in rounds. The system of rounds has proved to be the most effective in reaching as many people as possible. DBT is in high demand with a limited number of courses offered, and those often with long waiting lists. When someone completes a round, they often leave the group, which can leave room for another to step right into that slot. Others, unfortunately, will also drop out, leaving an empty slot. Disadvantages. New members can feel overwhelmed at first, as those further along discuss DBT skills with terms and acronyms totally alien to them. Members will have drastically different levels of DBT knowledge, along with differing degrees of skillfulness. This could cause newcomers to feel they could never grasp it all. Seeing others' diary cards may even reinforce this feeling, causing a feeling of inferiority. If mindfulness is your first module, that module on the diary card is the only section of the card that you should consider. That is your card. Because of your working area being so small, the first week you will only be able to fill out a single skill square. This is where you remind yourself that everyone starts at their beginning, just as you are doing now. In time, you can learn all of these skills. It is worth the patience. If distress tolerance is your first module, your card focus will be on the distress tolerance module section. Due to the lesson plan's overview of the mindfulness module between all modules, you should have a basic knowledge of these skills even if proficiency in use is not to be expected. If you are able to fill in any of the mindfulness module, do so. This is neither expected or required. The same holds true for the emotion regulation module. If this is your start point, you will focus on that module, and you should have a basic knowledge of the mindfulness skills even if proficiency in use is not to be expected. If you are able to fill in any of the mindfulness module, do so. This is neither expected or required. The same goes for the Interpersonal Effectiveness module. And, once again, if you are able to fill in any of the mindfulness module, do so. Now let's look at how to record entries. Use of each skill will be recorded daily within a number range from 0 to 7. Enter the number from the options at the bottom of page 2 that best describes your usage of this skill. Now let's examine what each of these options mean, starting with 0, which means you didn't think about it. Some reasons a person might choose this option. They have not yet learned the DBT skill. They have learned the skill, but don't believe the skill would make any difference. Our second option is option number 1. You thought about it, but didn't want to use it. A reason a person might choose this option. They have learned this skill, but don't believe the skill would make any difference. Our third option is option number 2. You thought about and wanted to use it. A reason a person might choose this option. They have learned this skill, believe the skill would make a difference, but don't know how to use it. Our fourth option is number 3. Tried to use it, couldn't use it. A reason a person might choose this option. They have learned the skill, believe the skill would make a difference, but don't know how to use it. Our fifth option is number 4. You tried to use and could use it, but it didn't help. Some reasons a person might choose this option. They have learned this skill, believe the skill would make a difference, and used the skill. But the skill used was not the most effective for the situation. The situation cannot be improved, only accepted. Our sixth option is marked number 5. You tried to use it, could use it, and it helped. Reasons a person might choose this option. They have learned this skill, believed the skill would make a difference, and used the skill. By putting effort into practicing the skill, it was helpful. But they need more practice before the skill is naturally used. Our seventh option is marked number 6. didn't try to use, you used it naturally, and it didn't help. Reasons a person might choose this option: they have learned this skill, believed the skill would make a difference, and used the skill. They have practiced the skill to the point it became natural. But acceptance may be the only effective skill possible. And finally, option number 8, which we mark with a 7. This skill we didn't try to use. We used it naturally, and it helped. Reasons a person might choose this option: they have learned this skill, believed the skill would make a difference, and used the skill. They have practiced the skill to the point it became natural. They have achieved some skill mastery and have learned effective skill use. The DBT diary cards help us to observe our growth. The more DBT you learn and practice, the higher your skillfulness will be rated. You can actually visualize your growth in skillfulness. You'll be able to chart your growth with each individual skill's increased proficiency through increased effectiveness in each module expressed by higher total sums. Through higher total sums as you continue to practice and master the skills. Be sure to check the video description in the comments below. You'll find a link to the website lesson that accompanies this video. You will also find links to the handouts and worksheets created to complement this video. And while you're there, if you found this video helpful, be sure to like it. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel, where you will find our entire DBT course is now available. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.